Hey, greetings. Welcome to KAS 411 Podcast, midweek inspiration, motivation, and educational community message, as I do every couple of weeks here in the month. Today, we are here with Peter G., and he's from the termite industry. But before we get to him, as usual, you know what today is? It's midweek now. You might not see it for a couple of days, but September 11th, 2001. Wow. That was a very day that kind of changed many lives, and many lives were lost. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of information because some of you may not have been born by now or at that particular time. But just to recap on it, a lot of you know what happened, but to tell you, September the 11th, where a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks took place in the cities of New York City, state of Pennsylvania, and the Washington, D.C. area, the Pentagon itself. Additionally, people died of 9/11 related, more people, should I say, died related to than cancer and respiratory disease in the months and the years following those attacks. 9/11 is something that we'll always remember, and it really changed the course of what American history was all about and the lifestyle in America. Today, we're here with our good friend, Peter G. from the termite industry, just like I said, and he's going to give us some kind of information about, number one, himself. Peter, a little bit about yourself and how you got into the termite industry, and just what your passion is about that.
Well, I was a traveling salesman for many years.
Okay.
And I grew tired of the traveling, so I decided to do something where I'm home on weekends and home during the week and out on the road.
Sounds good.
Went to work for a termite company, and they trained me, sent me to school, and did all the testing, received my license, and here I am.
Now, it's very interesting because in the real estate industry, when you purchase a home, buyers and sellers, you need to know about this, but when you purchase a home, you have a 17-day inspection period. And one of the first inspections that you have along with a home inspection is what we call a pest inspection, really geared to termites. So what is this whole thing about the termite inspection and what it's all about?
Termite inspection is required to protect the seller and the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, we go in, do an inspection to make sure there isn't any termites that are in the process of eating the wood.
Mm-hmm.
And their job is basically to eat the wood and
the termites, that is.
the termites, right.
That's their food
That's
or
termites,
something.
yeah,
Okay.
that's their food.
Okay.
And since we have the wood in our homes, we build our homes with the wood,
Okay.
and they're just following the path from the forest into your home.
Okay. Now, these termites, they're very good creatures, I guess, because they have to do a certain amount of work, to get into the home. But what types of termites are there? That's what I wanted to really say.
There are 4 different types of termites.
Okay.
But in this area, we basically have 2. One is the drywood termite,
Okay.
which lives in the structure.
Okay.
And the other one is subterranean termites, which live in the soil.
Okay. Okay. So the termites of the infestation, where you find them in the home and in the wood, what kind of period of time does that take for termites to kind of like get into that?
Well, they fly in at any time.
Okay, so termites fly?
Termites fly.
Okay.
Yeah, they're called the swarmers.
Okay.
And they also have, once they fly, they land on the wood.
Okay.
And they break off their wings, select their mate, and go into the wood to start their colony, kind of like what we do.
Okay. Now, it's interesting because termites, now, do they have a queen termite, like a queen bee?
They're the queen termite. The queen termite lives approximately 10 years.
Wow.
And produces approximately 500 termites a year.
Oh, a year. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So with the subterranean termites, how do they kind of like, what is their journey through life?
The subterranean termites live in the soil,
Mm-hmm.
and they come up from the soil into your home, eat the wood, and go back down to the colony.
Okay.
They work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They
Okay.
have no sick days, no vacation days.
Righteous.
Yeah.
It's interesting because recently I'm in a home that had a termite infestation, and what I ended up seeing, I was going into my home office, and I kept seeing these droppings on the floor that was right behind my desk, and I'm like, wow, where was this going? So I would clean it up. I come in the next day and was, finding out. So when the termites eat the wood, what is their process of releasing whatever they eat, and how can one determine in a home? If you have a home now, homeowners and home buyers, I want you to understand what to look for. What's that dropping?
Picture a 2x4,
Okay.
which is part of your home, and the termites are in there eating the wood.
Mm-hmm.
As they're eating the wood, they create channels.
Okay.
They eat the wood, and then they go back to the colony and feed the colony. The colony has the soldiers, workers, king and queen.
Oh.
And so the actual termites that are eating the wood, they regurgitate what they eat back to the colony.
Okay.
And when they're traveling back and forth, they just release their droppings
Okay.
in the channels where they're eating.
Okay.
When the channel gets too crowded, where they can no longer pass through it, they kick a hole in the side and they push out the droppings one at a time.
Okay.
That's what you see.
Okay, so it looks like to me it had sawdust with pepper in it.
Exactly.
Like pepper, so it looked like a salt and pepper, but sawdust.
What it is your wood that they've eaten
Mm-hmm.
and remove the cellulose
Okay.
because that's their nutrition.
Okay. Fantastic.
And that's all they eat. They don't eat human beings or other insects or anything else.
Okay, cool. So let me just take a little break here to say, who's your realtor? Keith A. Stafford, KAS 411. We're bringing this podcast to you for information, motivation, and education so that you would be understanding what to look for here today. We're talking about termites, but I have a variety of subjects that I bring to you and topics that I bring to you that I thought would be of interest. So I work with sellers, buyers, investors, and if you're renting or looking for a lease property, I can help you in that perspective also. I've been in the business for over 17 years and kind of seen a little bit of everything in the industry. I also used to work in finance, so I understand the process of how to put together your package, your loan, if you're purchasing a property so that you can go ahead and purchase. And it ties into exactly what we're talking about here, because one of the inspections that you get when you purchase a home is the termite inspection, the pest inspection. Now, we're going to get back with Peter G here this morning, and there are, two sections of the termite report. So why don't you talk about A and B and what is important, what's not important, what's a priority, so that our buyers and sellers will know, so that if you have a home, you want to keep it termite free or as close to it as possible. If you're buying a home, you want to know if there's termites in there and what to look for and what to expect. So Peter, why don't you talk about that?
As you referred to it, sections A and B. On the report, it's referred to as section 1 and 2.
Okay.
Because they categorize it. Section 1 items are items that need to be corrected.
Okay.
Where termites have gone in and done the damage that they do. And also will cover items like fungus and dry rot.
Okay.
Any type of damage to the wood.
Mhm.
That's section 1, or A as you referred to it. And that needs to be corrected before you can close your escrow.
Okay, so sellers beware, because if you have section 1 and it's damaged, like the inspector said, it needs to be corrected in order to sell a home. Now let me ask you, is that a law in the state of California, or is that a law in real estate industry in selling a home?
It's not really a law, but it's required from the mortgage, the lender.
The lender of buying the home, okay,
Right.
okay,
Because they want to make sure that whatever they're loaning the money on, the structure is sound.
okay, okay,
So your section 2, which you referred to as B,
okay,
are items like water stains or some type of earth too close to the structure, and not necessarily have to be corrected.
okay, all right, but just something to be aware of.
Something to be aware of that could create an issue down the road.
Okay, that sounds good. So when I think about the termite inspection or the pest inspection, some homes are on flat slab, the concrete slab. Then some homes have a raised foundation. Usually you can tell if you have to walk up some steps, wooden steps or concrete steps, and the home is raised up off of the ground. Can you talk about how the inspector kind of like tackles that or handles that particular situation?
If it's a cement slab, we walk around the exterior of the home and we inspect it for subterranean termites,
Okay,
which build little mud tubes to travel back and forth from the colony to the wood. They are totally blind, and they build this mud tube, and that gets them into the wood and then back down to the colony. So we inspect for that
okay,
with the slab. If we go underneath the house, a raised foundation, then we crawl underneath the house and we look for the same type of mud tubes
Okay.
for subterranean termites.
Okay.
So when we treat for subterranean termites, for example, we treat the exterior.
okay,
And the other type of termite is the drywood termite, which we talked about earlier, where you see they're dropping.
right,
For that, we put the tarp on top of the structure,
okay,
and it contains the fumigant that we put into the structure. And the reason we put the tarp on is to retain it, because as soon as we remove the tarp, it dissipates in the thin air.
Okay.
There's nothing left behind, no residue or no harmful chemicals.
okay, excellent. That's the other part that I wanted to ask you about, to let our homeowners know, and potential homeowners, meaning the buyers. If you see in your area that there is like a big, usually looks like a circus tent that is over a house, that is part of the fumigation process
Right.
that the termite inspector will do. Now, some people may be afraid of that. Do termites travel from one house to the other, or should they be afraid that, you know, the termites are gonna travel if, once the tent comes off?
No, once the tent comes off, all the termites should be dead.
Oh, all right now, like raid, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
One of the ways the fumigant works is it displaces oxygen, so once it gets into their system, it kills them. The fumigant is designed to penetrate up to 18 inches of solid wood, so it gets into all parts of the structure.
Mhm.
That's one of the reasons why we fumigate, because we don't always find the colony or where the termites are physically located.
Mhm, mhm.
But for the subterranean termites, we treat the soil. We build a barrier around the base of the foundation.
Mhm, okay. I've actually had that tent process happen to a home that I was in, so, and believe me, it definitely killed all of the termites, and the droppings definitely stopped.
But the termites do fly.
Oh, okay,
So they'll fly from one structure or one dead tree. They only eat dead wood. They will not go into a live tree.
okay,
So they'll fly from one structure into the next. And that's how they move from one building to another.
okay.
And they're kind of like, they're not strong flyers.
Mhm.
They're wherever the wind carries them, that's where they go.
Oh, okay. But then they lose their wings, you mentioned.
Right. What they'll do is they'll land on the piece of wood, they'll select their mates, they'll break off their wings, go into the wood, and start their colony.
And that's where they live.
That's where they live the rest of their life.
Okay. So Peter, we were talking earlier, and I just want to, before we leave our viewers here, okay, there were the top 5 questions that homeowners ask a termite inspector. So let's start with that.
Okay. What they ask is whether or not we're experienced, and in my case, I have over 25 years in the industry.
Okay.
And whether or not we're licensed. We are licensed by the state of California, the Sacramento Consumer Affairs. The same people that control your license up in Sacramento control ours.
Okay.
And also, we're insured.
That's important.
Termite companies have to be insured by the state of California.
So like you had mentioned, we kind of talked a little bit about the process of how it worked. The cost of a termite inspection, kind of give a little factor on that.
The cost of the termite inspection is basically, it varies from structure, but if we don't find any evidence of any termites, then, and the process is where the homeowner wants to get the paperwork through escrow, we have a minimum fee that we charge to process all the paperwork.
Okay, okay.
If we do find something, then there's no charge.
Okay.
It's included in whatever work that we do.
Okay, so, but initially, the report seems to be free. I mean, outside of if they want to get the report.
Pretty much.
Okay. And one of the things that comes about, it usually takes what, about 24 to 48 hours to get the report back?
We have a 24-hour turnaround time. We'll
Okay.
get the report to you.
Okay, so buyers understand that when you get the pest inspection, within 24 hours, we will have a report back to kind of show you what took place in that report, what the inspectors found as far as termites, dry rot, and anything else type of damage to the wood, so that you would be aware of what you're purchasing and your lender's gonna be aware of that. Peter, you know what, it's been a great pleasure having you here. You have quite a bit of knowledge. Just want my viewers to know that there will be contact information at the bottom of the screen here, so you'll be able to get back in touch with me. I can put you in touch with Peter, but who's your realtor? Keith A. Stafford. KAS 411 Midweek Podcast, information, inspiration, and motivation to give you the best information for you to make the best decision for the rest of your life and protect your home. What I want to do here before we leave is just have a moment of silence, as this is September 11th week, the tragic that happened many years ago, and just wanted to have a moment of silence for all of those families, the first responders, anyone that was in service and went in to help protect and save those people that they could. So a moment of silence. Whatever activities you do this week, just remember that something that changed our lives for forever, was 9/11. Till next time, signing off, KAS 411, peace, love. See you soon.